So anyways, though, I've decided to do something. Even though it might be mainly due to my mind trying to stop my heart or something that's probably never going to be able to succeed at doing, but just in case, I decided that I should do something way ahead of schedule. And that's to release the current very early alpha of World of Kirbycraft. Yeah, it does seem kind of strange, why would I go releasing it? Well, it's just so people can mess around with it, so I can at least say that if I ever do die or the world ends, at least I will know that at least some people have looked at it. So anyways, there's an installer here. So I'm going to run the installer version. There is a zip version, but let's run the installer because I highly doubt anyone's ever going to run the installer for some reason. Walk says install aware. Also, despite it being supposedly the most expensive version of InstallAware, it still pops up with the required dialogue. It acts like it's like a free version, even though it's actually more expensive. So it shouldn't be showing that this is created with InstallAware dialogue. But I guess they'll lie to you and say they'll remove it and they never do. But anyways, just want to point out, you probably saw something there when it first started up. And you weren't seeing things either. There's actually a little setup bitmap image that appears whenever it initially appears. Once it's done verifying the contents, you'll see that picture briefly flash. There it is, World of Kirbycraft. Yeah, that picture's kind of strange. It's like, well, it's very posing when there's a K-Dog coming at her. But anyways, it's just your typical installer, complete with a lack of license agreement, except for do you agree to these terms? Check the agree dialogue checkbox if so, because I changed that. I agree. I changed those. Like terms, we'll select the one up there. Next is this part. Select the type of setup you like to perform. Personalized. There's only one changeable option, and that's the executable. You can choose to just get the data files, though it's completely useless because you can't run this with normal ZDoom or GZDoom, as it says down here. The World of Kirbycraft is a source port based on ZDoom. I was expecting it to say source port, but apparently it didn't, so the source port is a source port based on ZDoom. World of Kirbycraft will not run with standard ZDoom/GZDoom, so if you're unsure, leave this enabled. This is essentially the more user-friendly method. Just in case you're, not as skilled at computers like Mama or someone, you could just use this to install it, even though I bet even she wouldn't even understand this either. Especially when it tries to stick it in program files. No, I don't know how to get the user folder like this, or else I'd just get the user folder that add on programs, just like with mine. Let's just stick it in here as ZenCorp/World of Kirbycraft. I'm just gonna open up that programs folder and just stick this here, because you might see a ZenCorp with a period folder. There's actually one with no period here, but you'll see one with the period come up. But anyways, though, let's hit next. And I also modified it so it leads to ZenCorp/World of Kirbycraft. Yeah, let's create it there. Setup is ready to start installing World of Kirbycraft. Let's do this. And then this pops up. Source code. The source code to World of Kirbycraft executable is available. Would you like to download it to your installation directory? It can be compiled with Microsoft Visual C++ 2005 or newer, as ZDoom's wiki states. And you can compile it on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Yes. Check your installation directory. Check your installation directory. ZenCorp/World of Kirbycraft for source.zip. If it's not there, request the source from Zane by emailing him. I don't see it, so I guess Dropbox doesn't support direct linking, which is really stupid. Because what website can I use to upload this to that will allow it to directly download it? It might have to go through the whole GitHub thing and then give you the zip from that something. I don't know, but it would have to do something in order to give you the source. Because Sun tells me the license, the license that the code is under requires you to release it. If it's not there, request the source from Zane by email at mlzane1@gmail.com. Then it does this, which I didn't even bother with this because I figured this would be really fast. I guess I was wrong. It installs slower than I thought. So I guess I could add something here. Oh no. Oh yeah, and I'm guessing since this installware is so old, it tries to write to a registry key and cannot write to it. So you have to ignore. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to add that dialog box. I remember I did before, but I totally forgot. I just saw that update in the background. But I'm gonna have to tell everyone to hit ignore on that dialog box when it comes up. Because I've tested before with a previous installer, a previous World of Kirbycraft installer, and I've been able to uninstall it. So those version minor, version major things don't even mean anything. World of Kirbycraft is not responding. That is not the game. That's the installer that's not responding. Print. Delete. Open. I think they made this too small. I can't even read what it's doing. And anyways, World of Kirbycraft has been installed successfully. To play it now, check the checkbox below. You can file the files at /user/meyer/program/zincorp/World of Kirbycraft and useful shortcuts in your start menu taskbar and desktop. Run World of Kirbycraft now! And there we go. And there's the batch file dedicated to starting it up. Due to the questionable thing of, distributing Doom 2's thing, I decided instead, let's just make Free Doom be associated. Free Doom is compatible after all, and since it's not standalone yet, it relies on Doom. So in order to make it compatible, I just decided I would just end up making it, I'd just make it use Free Doom. You can see that it works though. I installed it and it runs. The only reason why my controls are here and it didn't go awkwardly full screen is because it actually has a file called settings.myers.ini. Any other user will run into the problem, and they'll probably be unfamiliar because of the controls and stuff. Too bad that ZDoom, I don't know where in the source it specifies those default, key bindings. So I don't know how to intercept it, nor how to rename that file to actually match the user's username, which should be possible. Oh yeah, and since it's using Free Doom instead of Doom, we now hear a Free Doom sound effect. Yeah, that's different than normal Doom, I recognize that. Any of the sounds that have been changed, and any of the enemies that have been changed will also change. As you can see there. But since this isn't really based on Doom, it doesn't really matter if the enemies are Free Doom enemies or not, as they still have the same glitchy palette. But what can you do with this released World of Kirbycraft? Well, if you use my settings file and you rename it to be settings and then you put your username after that, note the hyphen though, you can do various things. For example, bring down the console using tilde or the button beside the 1 button on your keyboard, because no one will realize that's actually how you do that unless you're really familiar with PC gaming. Then you just have to activate No Clip 2 by bringing this down. Well, or you can just push N if you have mine associated. But then you can go around here and enter a special stage. Too bad I didn't set the amount good, so you can earn an insane time bonus and test it out though. I probably should find a way to switch it to the game view though. Can't believe I haven't been doing this. Also, your HUD doesn't appear. For some reason, none of it appears. I can hear the sound effects, so it's pretty obvious that extra lag is being loaded. And the music's also loaded. Also, if you push F4, you can get to this menu. And you can switch it to the different soundtracks. Just watch out for the null soundtrack because record companies are stupid and will gladly give you copyright strikes on YouTube, as that warns you, but it goes off the screen. All of the songs have been optimized, and me and Nathan have sort of teamed up to make a lot of the sounds and music optimized, so it used to take up 100 megabytes, now it only takes up 75. I want to find the one that loops really shortly, just to demonstrate it has a good loop. And let's test it. Can't find it. There's one that loops really shortly I want to find. Right there. That actually is a loop right there. I've cut down a lot of them to nearly half their length. Also, if you don't see your HUD, like whenever you start a level, because of my racing script, it'll look like this. Try pushing, on mine, try pushing the right square bracket or left square bracket. Just keep pushing it until you see your HUD disappear. And then type in, just bring down the console and type in take no HUD like this. You should see it. If it looks like this, then just sort of do that. It's the second to last one in the list. You can also use the commands size up and size down in the console. But I made it this way so that I could use plus and minus to zoom in and out on the automat. You can also test out the race mode if you go into the menu. Set up race, and then you can select the race. Then just hit start race, and you'll be able to test out the race mode. It's very incomplete, but still. Also, don't forget to jump off of that ramp. Hit jump right in the middle of it. And if you do that, then you'll be able to sort of go a bit further. For some reason I just noticed there wasn't a force field there. Oh no. I'm gonna have to fix that in a later version. But you're mainly able to play around with Arthas and Mary and, you know, mess around with their weapons. This isn't, of course, like a full series where you can, like, run through each of the levels and sort of play around. This is just sort of a series where you can just sort of try out the game that will hopefully become a thing. Hopefully popular enough for many people to play. Also, it looks like I'm going to get my best lap time. Just hope that you don't land out of bounds there. Oh yeah, 21. Oh yeah, but type take no HUD and there we go. So you can see you can play it. So this essentially is the first version that people can actually play now. Just do beware of a glitch here, will do. That. Yeah, that right there is a glitch. Of course, it won't be possible in the final because I'm thinking about getting rid of the glide ability, by the way. I'll probably get rid of it and I'll transfer it to the umbrella. You see, the umbrella, based on that code right there, is supposed to have it. So you'll be able to glide, and maybe if I can get the air current thing to work, then if the player's detected to be within a certain sector, they'll be able to use the air current or something. I just think that would be really cool if I could program that. I'll tell you, I'm sure I'll be able to program all this. And also, one more thing you can do is if you select Shooter, Toho, Scrap Boss, then Scrap Boss, you'll be able to revisit this area. Which, of course, you cannot visit that with anything else. Oh yeah, and you can also do multiplayer if you know how, but I don't have any batch files written for that and really can't write any for it because it relies on IP addresses, and that will vary depending on the player. Oh yeah, and at the moment, Arthas's Kirby style flight is his default because of the race mode code, which forcibly gives you that power level. But, of course, in the final, and whenever I actually start working on these levels, you'll be limited to the tail style flight. You'll have to pick up an upgrade in order to earn this. Which also, just to point out, I've also buffed it a bit. It was kind of nerfed before. Because there are like these weird delays that can make it sometimes take longer or shorter to actually do the jumps. So in order to combat this, I don't know how to fix it. So I just decided to make each of your puffs a bit more powerful. It doesn't shoot you near as far distance, which means since it's still based on your momentum, you go faster the more you do it. Essentially like an annoying bunny hop, which is so unrealistic. But, as you can see though, you go faster every time you do the jump. But you don't get near as fast as you did before, where it was 1.5 multiplying. Here it's 1.34. But however though, here it's 1.34, but still, let's still end up seeing though, that also your jumps have also been increased. I think it was 9, now it's 10. Unfortunately, these buffs kind of make it so overpowered that you can jump up high enough to actually get fall damage. Also, the falling screen doesn't happen near as easily. You actually have to drop off something to hear it. Also, in my build of it, if you button mash your backward slash, and you button mash the backward slash and you do it like 7 times, then you can push numpad 5 and you'll end up transforming within this incomplete thing. You can do this with both of them. And I think this also gets rid of the falling screen and lets you activate it at really far distances. For some reason I can never activate it. I strangely cannot activate it. After I start falling a certain speed, I can't activate it. I'm gonna assume that that's some code that I accidentally reverted because that limit is supposed to be removed once you turn super. But if you ever have trouble with these jumps, you can always turn on Zane_auto jump. You can see all my variables if you bring up the console type in Zane underscore and then push tab and you'll be able to see them all. There's quite a lot of them. Strangely, auto jump doesn't seem to be working either. Never mind, there it goes. You can stop the auto jumping by holding down backwards or crouch, which could come in handy, especially in the special stage. And it only helps you go downward, just to keep you from hitting falling damage. It is not designed to let you actually do things like jump over here, which for some reason glitched out. Yeah, it's kind of glitchy. Yeah, Lily would not let me jump there. I'm assuming it's because of the auto jump. Well, that's kind of glitchy. Just try to do an air jump. And here's all the different menus that you can get to, by the way. If you type in Puke 254 and then a number, you'll be able to play that respective song. Even though it's kind of glitchy and I don't know what broke it because the timer never resets or anything, even when it's supposed to. But if you type in map and then SND underscore test, you'll be able to go to the sound test, which will let you listen to music. You can see right there the timer isn't resetting despite me switching between the songs. Sometimes it might land on the Do Re Mi songs. Why is it unable to play that song? It just cuts it off. Oh wait, I understand why. It's because the timer isn't resetting. So eventually all the songs you play will start suddenly cutting off. Because they're not supposed to. But still though, it's basically World of Kirbycraft. You would expect like, sort of one of those trailers, but I'm too lazy, so... yeah. Here's World of Kirbycraft. For anyone who wants to try this thing out. And explore the incomplete levels. To see what is to come. Like this area. Are you curious about Uther's lab of missing textures? But still though, that's World of Kirbycraft, which has now been released. An incomplete alpha, so don't go saying everything's incomplete and glitchy. This is just in case I die or something. It's kinda dark, but you... hopefully, you get my point. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is let's look at the shortcuts, because it creates shortcuts. Should be a shortcut around here somewhere. Where's source code? Source code does not exist, but it creates it anyways. World of Kirbycraft, but with an invalid icon. That's the only shortcut it creates if you're curious. So I found, what's up with the invalid icon? What number am I supposed to put there for the icon number? Oh well, and double clicking this starts up the game, which is not free, Doom. I thought I also made it get pinned to your taskbar, but I don't see it there either. It's not in the start menu. Well, it's not in the start screen part of the start menu, but let's see if it's in the menu. Zanecorp, World of Kirbycraft, uninstall World of Kirbycraft. I think I might just make it use whatever icon this one is using. Let's remove World of Kirbycraft. World of Kirbycraft! So you can't repair or modify if you want to remove the EXE for some reason. But I just want to get rid of it. Oh, but since it reuses the same code, it asks you if you want the source code again. No, I do not want the source code. Run as administrator of Cut French. Here's every possible term on a computer. Thank you for playing World of Kirbycraft. If you ever want to experience the World of Kirbycraft again, just install this again. Arthas and Mary will be waiting. Oh, and I was lucky and didn't get that dialogue this time. Nice. It actually did what it should do because it's the most expensive version. Company is still advertising you to purchase the stuff you already own. What is this? NCH software or something? WavePad? Oh well though. This is World of Kirbycraft.